Nursing is the nation's largest healthcare profession, with nearly 4.2 million registered nurses nationwide. But as the baby boomer generation ages and their need for healthcare grows, the U.S. is projected to experience a shortage of RNs, and the same is true for the state of Alabama, as reported by WSFA 12 News.
Data from the Alabama Hospital Association shows 5,400 vacant nursing positions in the state last year alone.
So basically, we're going to need a lot of new nurses, and that means a lot of new nursing students. But what does being a nursing student look like in the year 2025? And what is Troy University doing to help meet the growing demand? I'm Kate Nesbitt, and this is The Rounds, a podcast where nursing professionals and nursing faculty share stories and practical advice for current and future nurses of all specialties. I'm lucky enough to be joined by a real-life nursing student, my co-host, Brooke Mosley.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brooke. I'm a third semester nursing student here at Troy University, and I'll be asking the questions more from a student's perspective and sharing my experiences as I work towards obtaining my degree.
And like I said, I'm Kate Nesbitt. I'm not a nurse, but I'm here to sort of steer the ship and also translate where necessary. We're going to throw around a lot of nurse lingo on the show, and I'll be the one to pipe in and say, please tell me what that acronym means, because I don't know. And so I'll turn it over to Brooke.
This episode is all about us students. So if you're a nursing student or maybe you're thinking about becoming one, you're going to want to stick around. Joining us today, we've got two experienced nursing professionals and educators.
I'm Dr. Stephanie Lewis. I am a professor of nursing. I hold a Ph.D. in nursing education. I've been with Troy for 10 years, and I teach in the Master's of Science in Nursing and in the DNP program, the Doctorate of Nursing Practice.
I'm Dr. Stacey Jones. I'm the DNP program coordinator at Troy University. I am a proud Troy graduate. I received my BSN from Troy almost 30 years ago next month, and I also hold a master's degree as a certified family nurse practitioner, and I do practice one day a week with a local family practice here in Troy. I have been with Troy University for 18 years. Currently, I'm just teaching the doctoral students.
We are talking about all types of nursing students. This question might lean towards more of those BSN students or ASN students, but I feel free to please answer this for any nursing in any part of their education. Is there any advice you'd give to them on just getting through the programs, the different programs, and what to look forward to?
I guess I would advise them to really study and work towards a deep understanding of concepts. There's no way that any one person can memorize all the facts and tidbits that we know about nursing and medicine and healthcare, but there are basic concepts that remain no matter what area you're in and what you're doing. And I would encourage students to focus on those concepts and then apply them in different ways and really engage their critical thinking.
What are some of the more important skills or qualities that you believe nursing students should develop while they're still in school? Like, what is going to benefit them most when they're out in the workforce?
With their hands-on skills, the things that they learn to do, the giving shots, drawing blood, starting IVs, all that's very important. Those things, the more you practice them, the better you are at doing those. So practice with your skills. Now, qualities, communication. I know that's something that, I've seen in younger nursing students is I am a little concerned about their communication ability, especially when they're speaking to people that are maybe a lot older than them, making sure that you're doing a really good job getting that interview with your patient, making sure that you are getting the history that you need and that you're communicating with them. That goes a long way to taking care of your patient and making sure you're not missing anything. And not being afraid to reach out to another nurse or perhaps even a doctor if you suspect something is not quite right with your patient. Say something and do something. Be your patient's advocate.
I completely agree, Dr. Jones, and I would just add, too, that students should work on learning how to collaborate with the interdisciplinary team, because it's never just one person who's going to be able to provide all the care that's necessary. So being able to work together for the same outcome is important too.
Yeah, and I remember my first day of clinicals, I straight up went up to my instructor. I was like, I do not know how to talk to a patient. They didn't really teach us this. They taught us how to assess them, how to find a problem, but you're going to walk in a room, here's your script, you're going to do this, you're going to
They didn't help you with those people skills.
no.
Yeah.
And she basically told us, she's like, it's going to be awkward. You're not really going to know what you're doing, but that's why you're here. That's the purpose of this clinical, is to teach you how to communicate with that patient. And her straight up honesty with that really helped me that day. And my communication skills grew astronomically just from her advice with that.
Yeah. Do y'all incorporate any of those real world scenarios from like incorporating those people skills, or or is most of what, if you incorporate any real world scenarios, just sort of going through like a chart or going through like the basics of what happened and kind of discussing it from there?
Yeah, using past experiences as examples and kind of laying that out for students who might not have a lot of experience, and then building on those ideas is helpful in clinical for sure. I haven't taught undergraduate clinical in a few years, but I would always ask the students to come to me and tell me about any changes in their patient. So it might be a high blood pressure, a low blood pressure, an abnormal blood value. And then I always ask them, what are you going to do about this? What are your next steps? You've already identified that it's abnormal. It's not where it's supposed to be. But what's next? And, pushing them to kind of make the plan. Planning is part of the nursing process, but we have to learn, we have to practice how to do that.
Has there been any changes that you've seen on like students approaching learning over the years?
Oh, definitely. With technology, that has helped. I will say it has helped, with the things that you have at your fingertips that we did not have, even 10, 15 years ago. You can get on your phone if you don't know how to treat something. Well, you can get on your phone and look up a clinical guideline that tells you how to handle a situation. We used to have to go to textbooks for that.
Or the card catalog in the library.
Yes.
Some of us went through school before the internet.
I remember being taught that. Brooke, were you taught that?
I have no clue what y'all are talking about.
What?
I
remember I was being taught that, but specifically as like, I know you don't have to use it because we have the computers now, but this is how we used to do it. Oh my goodness.
I would echo what Dr. Jones said and just, note that technology and the students' ability to use the technology has just exploded. We teach most of our courses and the credit hours in the master's and doctoral programs online. Through a learning management system, and we have face-to-face classes every now and again, but it's incredible how efficient learning can be online.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So speaking of students, how do you support your students, especially being mostly online? How do y'all support those who might be, struggling a little, whether it's both academically or emotionally while they're being educated?
We, at Troy faculty in the graduate programs, nursing programs, we understand who our student is. They're adults. They are most of the time working full time. They have families. They have all the other facets of life, and they're adding part time or full time school on top of it. And so I think we do have a good reputation for meeting the students where they are, accommodating them when we can. My policy, and I believe it's probably universal throughout the graduate programs, is if you're having trouble, if you see that you're going to miss an assignment deadline or a deadline of any kind, reach out to me, and you can tell me as much or as little as you'd like about what's going on, but just ask for an extension. And students learn to do that they learn that we mean what we say. Sometimes it takes a semester and they're a little wary, but we have many different platforms to meet with students and communicate with them. We can talk by phone, we can do a video chat over Teams, email, messaging. All my graduate students have my cell phone number. I've never, ever regretted giving out my cell phone number to students. And we work really hard to stay in close contact with them.
I'm sure that benefits not just you guys in staying in contact with them, but also benefits them on having, some access to being able to talk to you. And I'm since you don't regret it, I'm sure there's not been too bad of an experience with it, but I know that would make me feel very much understood, especially by somebody who is helping me with my education, on just knowing that they knew me as a person and not just another student who's in this class and we're getting through it and it's all going to be fine, but that they actually knew me.
Another thing we do with our students, the doctoral students who are working on their projects with their committee, they have to have committee meetings every semester. And during that time, they, go over the things that they're doing for their project, but they are also expected to list out things they're doing for stress management. And we discuss that in those committee meetings. What are you doing? It may just be something as simple as, I'm going to take a bubble bath, or if I'm stressed, I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk. But we want them to have a plan on paper that we can look at for when things get to be too much.
I love that. I know in my prereq classes, you'd kind of walk into a classroom, here's the syllabus or whatever, and you saw that professor maybe 3 hours a week. There wasn't going to be much rapport, but since I've been in the nursing program, I know I can walk into any single one of those professors' offices and have an emotional breakdown, and they're just going to lift me up. They're going to support me. I can walk in there, ask questions. Like you said, most of them do. On the first day, they're like, here's my phone number. Obviously, don't abuse this power, but here is my phone number. Text me. And I even have a professor who, if you don't show up, she's going to call you until you answer that phone. Or she's going to do everything. And it's comforting from the student aspect to know that you have someone backing you in that corner. And I mean, you're with your professors multiple hours a week, you're going to build that rapport pretty much whether you want to or not, but usually it's for your benefit.
And working with the nursing faculty, I can tell you that, just conversations with them, they are still checking in on those students afterwards, that it's not you graduate and then you never talk to them again. They have students who reach out to them and they reach out to their previous students and really stay in contact. That's definitely a comforting thought for probably any nurses who want to kind of get back into maybe learning more about their education, or even going into educating other nurses. And maybe come to Troy and come be an amazing Trojan. Well, I know that we're getting to probably the end, and I wanted to ask one question that I've been wanting to ask all of our guests. Is there a specialty area in nursing that you are interested in, or you think is very interesting and you want to hear more about?
I'm family practice, so I like everything from babies all the way up to the elderly. So I'm not sure. Dr. Lewis, can you think of anything?
Well, not necessarily things that I'm motivated to go out and do, but some hot areas right now in nursing. Informatics, certainly, because technology is such a part of our lives, and most people don't realize how influential technology is in the hospital setting or any healthcare setting. We rely on it greatly, and there are people out there who design and implement programs to improve patient outcomes, and a lot of them are nurses. We have a track in our MSN program that is for informatics specifically. And those students they're really cool because they know that they can affect outcomes positively without necessarily being at the bedside. So informatics is a big deal. And then I have had a lot of graduates go into aesthetics. And I know Alabama is looking into licensing their nurse practitioners to really fully practice in the aesthetics world.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today, and very much appreciated all the information you're able to give us and talk with us, especially about, educating in the DNP program and research and everything. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Well, we've come full circle on this episode of The Rounds. We want to thank our guests, Dr. Stephanie Lewis and Dr. Stacey Jones. But before we go, don't be afraid to press that call button, record a voice memo with your question for our guests, and send it to KROSS120311 It can be anything from, how do I get started in nursing, to why does my elbow hurt when I do this?
You can stay up to date on our new episodes of The Rounds by subscribing on the podcast platform of your choice. And be sure to share with the nurse or nursing student in your life. The Rounds is recorded in the studios of Troy Public Radio and produced by Austin Toy, Kate Nesbitt, and the College of Health Sciences at Troy University.
So until next time, I'm Kate.
And I'm Brooke.
We'll see you again next month when The Rounds returns.